Evan Bertolt was not exactly looking pleased with life, probably due to the CV boot which broke just before the DSP. After the compulsory 15-minute stopover, it was bombs away and home Jerome. The De Bruins again put pedal to the metal. The Barkhuisens were doing running repairs in the Roerkon pits, but for them, it had been a solid opening leg on day one, and they were pleased with their progress.
It's going well. It's very tight and twisty, and the route is the bushes. You know, we were caught out a couple of times wrong slotting, and then trying to get back on the route. And then coming into DSP, you see DSP, but there's nobody there, and you wonder what the hell is going on. And now, well, everybody's here at the end. So.
Well, what was going on was feverish activity and some interesting thoughts.
Beautiful, it's excellent, it's tight. They designed this course for the buckies, but we'll catch them. We had a flat wheel this morning trying to pass all the Class E buckies again, but we're catching up. But it's beautiful, it's marked very well done, and it's beautiful out here, very nice.
Grobler and Jordan were off next in their ultra-reliable Nissan Navara, and the defending champion was looking good. But while they were off, the mechanics and pit crews were stretched to the limit back at DSP. While Cox and Tersteger was setting off, Coetzee told us his sorry tale of woe.
About 20 days before DSP, we broke a right front wishbone on the vehicle, and we had to nurse it back there. When we got here into DSP, we saw that we had both the back leaf springs were broken, and the guys are just replacing that, and then we'll take it home there.
But while that was going on, there was even tighter drama for the Du Plessis.
Well, it looks like we're going to retire because of a fan belt.
Where did this happen?
No, it just perished, so it would have broken on the way out. And luckily they picked it up here in the pit, so... And now we can't find the right size fan belt.
Now that's one man with a big sense of humor. And the De Bruins kept the pace up at the front so much that the rest weren't laughing either. Sans grill and some bodywork, the Toyota still sounded great though. On the homeward leg, the drivers were tested to the limit with layers of loose sand making traction and purchase difficult to attain. Grobler, though, is a master at it. Cronje and Birken had worked themselves into third all the way up from ninth and were getting Toyota Hearts to beat Custard. Vos and Leek, probably sporting the most unblemished car in the top five, had gone from 16th to 4th and were putting together a magnificent first day. While Corbett and Moore, with most of the damage to their Nissan repaired, had set off with some serious intent. Marcus and Moore were up from 17th and into the top 6, another drive which showed that the route certainly suited the production cars more than the special vehicles. The first of those through, though, was Colin Matthews and Alan Smith, who kept it going beautifully, even though the buckies were streaming by them. Cox and Tersteger were next, but they were soon to run into serious suspension problems. The 1,000-kilometer desert slog continues.
Vehicle and asset finance from ABSA. Going off the beaten track to finance from ABSA. Overcoming all obstacles.
The Toyota Kalahari Botswana 1000 Desert Race continues, and the De Bruins, Higo and Jaap, in their McLaren Excel dealer team Toyota Hilux, spent most of the day fending off the biggest names in the sport on local soil. That's names such as Hannes Grobler and Francois Jordan, the defending champions in their Nissan Navara, who were just a few minutes in arrears. And then there was young Mark Cronje and his navigator Chris Birken, who'd overtaken 5 cars to get to 3rd overall. Men such as former national champs Duncan Vos and his stand-in navigator Richard Leek, who was doing duty for Ralph Pitchford, who was testing overseas. They had themselves climbed 13 places. The crowds loved it, and so did the drivers and navigators. Corbett and Balzar had also passed a whole fistful of cars and were in fifth, ready to pounce on any and all mistakes. For Harkis and Moore, there was an even bigger move. They were 17th overnight, but moved straight into the top 10. Even though they wrong-slotted here. But the man who's in the lead in the SP Class Championship still had to nail down a lot of Ks before he could lock up the points. At the front of the specials, though, the biggest surprise of the day was delivered by Collie Silwald and his son Quinton, who piloted their Silwald Transport Zarko out to a lead of almost 3 minutes over the next special. In between that, though, there was Visser and Bardnost in their Castrol Toyota, who were steady after starting off 10th. The second special was the turquoise blue Atlas Copco bat of the Harpers, whose cautious approach in the first half was paying off in the second. Matthews and Smith had suffered a puncture 32 kilometers out from the finish line on day one and had to be content with third. While the drive of the latter part of the day came from Motorride team manager Evan Hutchison and Akim Bergman. They were 20th in class but passed all and sundry to take fourth. Looking and sounding rather worse for wear after several collisions with Botswana's finest fauna and flora, Bevan Berthold and Robin Houghton came through to notch up a solid first day. And Total Motorsports Variawa and Rousseau got things going again after a puncture robbed them of some time. For Gary Berthold and Henry Costain in the Atlas Copco Porter, their race had been run.
Wat is die probleem? Ons het 'n petrol probleem. Ons is nie seker of ons sommer petrol gaan staan het om ons pyp af te so wat is fout nie. Maar ons hoort seker binne die volgende paar minute te weet. Hoe lyk die reis sover? Nee, rof, maar baie lekker, baie stowwerig. Maar baie lekker.
Clint Gibson and Mike Brown, though, street by, and they were putting together a good first day, albeit too far back to worry the special pace setters. The big Rapsa bat of Naldus Alberts and Colin Hunter had lost a few places, but was still in the top 10 in class. Within a few Ks of the finish line at the bridge, thousands of Botswana spectators had gathered to watch the passing parade, and Terence Marsh and Peter Groenewald certainly gave them the royal treatment on the flyby. But it was Collie Silwald who was amazing everyone with his fine driving and aggressive lines. Son Quinton was holding on for dear life. Back at the bridge, Schilling also gave the crowd what they'd come to see, all-out speed. The Cries looked like they were again set to dominate Class B, and who could argue? 3 for 3 and going well. The dust in the last few Ks was extremely punishing, and the specials felt it the worst. Just ask Roacon's David and Gary White. Woolridge and Schulthammer have not had the best of seasons. The defending SP champions did not finish the first two races, but opened their account at Sun City. Here, they again struggled. But in contrast, their stablemates Van Tonda and Guapa and the Unifreight Ford Ranger gave a good account of themselves in their first outing. Blind in one eye and with body parts all over the show, Tollefson and Quinn showed proof that the African bush is one very harsh place. While a whole procession of production cars lined up for the finish after day one ahead of the specials. Zermatten nursed his Nissan through while the Rurikon lads just rushed by. They obviously couldn't wait to get to the showers. Besaidnout and De Bruyn was solid in the Adenko bat in Class B. While the Weichelts brought the Toyota home looking very well considering the terrain they'd had to cover. In Class E, Jack Peckham and Lucio Santoro led the championship race by a slender point, and they made sure the opposition knew it when they led the way home on day one. But Toyota's Malcolm Koch and Wayne Brink were keeping them honest. And Brian Martin and Oki Fourie were just close enough not to let the Ford pair relax. The Barlow World Absolute Ford Ranger of Schroeder and Huxtable was plagued by several small problems, but they too were heading for the finish line after a long 480-odd Ks. As were their stablemates Cor van Os and Eric van Poel. While Herman de Villiers and Andre Griesel had gone from 60th right up the order to the top 40, a fine drive. Johan Ferreira and Nico Kotze and their Toyota gave the title sponsors some more wide smiles. While Harold and Tian Koens Landy always enjoys a lot of spectator support out there. However, at the finish line of day one, it was the almost unrecognizable Toyota father and son combination Hichu and Jaap de Bruyn who won in 7 hours and 17 minutes. They were just 17 seconds ahead of a charging Grobler and Jordan in the Nissan Navara who were chasing hard at the end. The De Bruyns lost second gear and therefore battled in the sand.
Well, from DSP we battled it, but as I said before, we unfortunately we were lost second gear, and that was a big hassle for us. But a big achievement for us.
Making it 2 out of 3 for the hosts and strengthening their chances of a first win in 8 years, Marc Cronje brought his Hilux home 90 seconds behind.
Dis moeilik, jy weet, as ou spore voor het, dan is dit maklik om dit te volg, maar as jy die spore voor het hê, dan moet jy maar jou instrumente gebruik en die ondervinding wat jy het. Maar dit het goed gegaan, ons is bly.
Voss and Leek provided one of the performances of the day when they took fourth and clearly combined well in the Nissan Navara. The dust was a big factor.
The dust helped us a lot to keep Hannes behind us, because we could, at every turn we see Hannes is behind us, but we're fortunate we'll put in a new gearbox tonight, and tomorrow is a new day. We're glad we can start in front tomorrow again.
Mark Corbett and Rudy Balzar made Nissan supporters sit up and take note when they made it 3 in the top 5. The first 5 cars were all home within 5 odd minutes of each other. Arcus and Moore in the first of the factory Fords split the Japanese manufacturer's rivalry. While Cully and Quinton Silwald were delighted with a fine showing by bringing the special vehicle category home first. The transport man was a happy camper.
Yes, obviously it's a tough one. Desert is always a nice one on the cars. There's the second one coming in now. Quite rough and also very tight, very, very tight. For the bigger cars, without four-wheel drive, really a battle. So yeah, we're happy with the result, and obviously it's not won and lost on the first day. Tomorrow is it's a long day for us. And I must just thank my navigator, Quinton, my son. He's the one who did the hard work. I just held on to the steering wheel.
What is the markings on average besides your own map? How was it out there?
It was very well marked. Over the whole course was pretty well marked.
Today our aim for today was to only finish and get to the finish, because tomorrow's when the real race actually starts. So we're very happy to come in first. We did not expect this at all, so it's been a good day.
And battle plan tomorrow?
Well, I think we were lucky to come in first, obviously. The big guns are still out there, and tomorrow they will come with a vengeance. So we've been in the dust for the last 150, 170 kilos. So we're used to the dust. But we'll see tomorrow what is going to happen. We won't carry on with the pace that we did today. We'll be happy if we slow down a little bit.
Having lost so much of its body it looked like a special, Bevan Bertelt and Robin Houghton brought their Toyota home in 7 hours and 40 minutes, with many stories of battle to relate. And then the repair work had to start, because the next day they had to do it all again.
Hey, Alfie! What happened, bud? Get a tree, get in the way.
For Alfie Cox, it was the end of a dream to win in a production car on 2 wheels and in a special. What happened? We wanted to know.
Yeah, look, this race can bring you from hero to zero. I mean, got into the lead at the halfway point, and then things just went wrong as we went along. We got a puncture. And yeah, so we dropped back a few places, and then we made it back up again, and then the front arm broke. So we've been stuck 20 kilometers from here. And we had to take off the whole suspension and come in on 3 wheels. So hopefully we can fix it and carry on tomorrow, at least get some points. Chance of winning is over, but maybe we can get some points.
The De Bruins did a fine job of holding off the big factory teams, but there was still a lot of racing to be done. While another unfancy team, the Silwolds, led the special vehicle category home with another father and son combination, the Harpers, hoping to make the Sunday a fine Father's Day for one family with a victory. And after all of that, the drivers, navigators, technicians and crews had to count the cost of the day, take stock and get things ready for the next day. They had to do it all again. Another 480 kilometers lay in wait. We'll show you all of that next week. I'm Arnold Gintz. Thanks for watching.
That